That's right. We are live right back here. I said I'd be live at 5 o'clock, and we are live right here. We've got another great interview for you here this afternoon. And, of course, it is political season. It is political season, and you know and I know that there is a lot going on out there. Redistricting is in focus right now down there at the State House. I haven't heard what the House did today. Are they doing anything more? Will they be back tomorrow? What's the question? When will the Senate take it up? It's all up for play here today. But this afternoon, we're going to be talking about South Carolina House District 14. My very special guest is Rick Shealy, who is a candidate for South Carolina House District 14. He's a farmer, a businessman, a lifelong South Carolinian, and a Republican candidate focused on roads, property rights, education, government, accountability, and constitutional issues. Sounds like he's covering all the bases. Rick, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Ann. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I got to ask. I mean, have you ever been in politics before?
Not really. I mean, I've been in the county Republican Party for the last 10 years, but this is the first time I've run for public office.
Right. So, how are you finding this foray into politics, Rick?
You know, I'm finding it's not as bad as I thought it would be. You know, I've been knocking on a lot of doors. I thought I would hate that, but I'm actually enjoy it a lot, meeting hundreds of people and just hearing their opinions and, finding out how the voters feel and what they want. And I'm really enjoying that.
What's the biggest thing that surprised you about running for office and what the voters want?
Well, I think, the roads, it's the common issues we hear a lot, taxes, that type of thing. But really, they want term limits. I think people are really tired of these lifelong politicians that go in and just stay in, so for that reason, I've made that a big part of my campaign is to term limit myself. I've signed that U.S. term limit pledge, which is for 3 terms in the House or 2 terms in the Senate. And, I'm going to apply that here in the South Carolina State House. I will serve no more than 3 terms or 6 years in the State House if I get the honor of serving District 14.
I have posed that question to many candidates who said this, and I said, well, why don't y'all do some legislation? Why don't you really just get serious about it and do some legislation? Every candidate I have ever talked to has always told me these wise words. You have the ability to term limit me. But you know what? The advantage goes to that person that's already in the office, doesn't it? Oh,
it does. There are things that are done to support that person that's in office. That I'm running against an incumbent, and so he is definitely getting certain advantages, certain endorsements, certain money from different groups to help them that I'm not getting.
Sure.
And therefore, I'm having to fund my campaign from donations, mainly from a wide variety of voters in Lawrence County, but also self-funding. So
it can get pretty expensive.
Oh yeah. This will probably be one of the most expensive races in Lawrence County. We're seeing that, I think, with a lot of House races now. I mean, there was one in Columbia 2 years ago where the Democrat that won, I think, spent over $300,000, and the Republican spent over $250,000.
Yeah.
That's for a House race.
Yes. I remember this one race very well. It was Jamie Harrison versus Lindsey Graham. And I will say this, that a lot of money was spent. It was at the time. It was the biggest race in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And this was at a time when my husband was very ill and he ended up dying. And I thank Lindsey Graham every day for paying all the bills for this radio station, because without him spending all that money, I might not be here today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, tremendous amount of dollars
Oh, yeah.
spent.
Yeah.
So, what prompted you to want to run?
Well, I have a lot of experience in business. I am a farmer. I love farming, and I know a lot of the different issues that farmers face. Mm-hmm. And so that's an unusual combination of experience, and I don't think you'll find that.
Farmer and business?
A farmer and businessman. I had an environmental testing business for about 30 years.
We might need to talk to you then. Yeah, we got problems out there at Lake Greenwood there, sir.
Oh, I hear about that.
Yeah. So do you still have that business?
No, I sold it in 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you went to school for what? Marine biology?
Exactly. Yeah, I got my degree from the College of Charleston.
What made you go into that?
Well, that was back in the day when Jacques Cousteau was very popular on TV, and I think that freshman year down at the college, I think probably 2/3 of the freshmen were intending to go in marine biology because of Jacques Cousteau. It was so cool to see what he was doing there, and that's
that little vehicle, that little submarine.
Oh,
that
right,
he could take,
yeah. We all wanted to go scuba diving, and so that's what drew us in.
But you actually did you get a degree in that?
I did, yeah. I got my BS and master's degree down there.
Wow. And what were you going to do with it?
Well, I was going to try to get a job probably with the state.
Was Jacques Cousteau? No.
No. At the time, it was the wildlife department in Charleston was the only one hiring marine biologists, and they were only hiring a couple a year. So but I did get a job down there, and quickly figured out that I didn't want to be in the state government system. I was a hard worker. I wanted to advance very quickly. I was ambitious, and I saw that that state system does not really work well for someone who's really ambitious. So,
oh, wait a minute, stop! You're looking at going back into this now.
Well, not as an employee, as a
representative,
right? And but I was in it for a while. Then I went to a private company that did environmental work, and was there a couple years. And then I figured out I could do all this on my own. So I started my own business, actually in my parents' garage, and quickly grew the business. Grew it to over 70 scientists, chemists, and staff before I sold the business.
So we could say you signed the front of a paycheck.
Oh, yeah. I've hired many, and I've laid off some. And
never fired anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not that many, though.
Right.
And that's never a pleasant thing. But you have to do what's in the best interest of the company.
Sure.
And when you're running a business like that, or really any business, I mean, you always face difficult challenges. And so you learn how to work through those, and you learn how to grow the business. We would go through very rapid growth phases, and then it would slow down, grow and slow down. And so that took a lot of adjusting to plan for that growth and then plan for the pullback. So, that I think was great experience in hindsight. I think that, I certainly can apply that down in Columbia. I think that Columbia needs some belt tightening down there. I really feel like the state government is probably pretty bloated. And I think...
So you don't believe we have a revenue problem?
No, I think we have a spending problem. I really do. And I think if we were to apply some of the Doge type of analysis to the state government, I think we could save a good bit of money and maybe give some relief in these areas like property tax on your primary residence. What do
you think about seniors having to pay property tax?
I think it's wrong. I couldn't believe that our founding fathers would think that they would be astonished that we would allow the government to tax our homes like that after they're paid for. And, I think seniors should pay no property tax on their primary residence.
What do you think about down there in Columbia where they can't seem to make a decision about whether they are or they aren't or how much they're going to do, but they can put a law such as the liquor liability on pause for a year. I asked one of them, why don't we just go ahead and just do a pause on property taxes for a year?
That sounds like a good idea to me.
They didn't like that idea at all.
Well, right now, with the price of gas going sky high, they won't pause the tax on
And isn't that interesting? Since Donald Trump says it the other day, and now everybody is going, "Oh yeah, we might ought to do that." This was brought up back in February or March, right after the war started.
Yeah. No, we have some issues in Columbia. And, somebody told me the other day, you hear that Columbia is described as a swamp. And, say, no, it's not a swamp. They said, swamp is a thing of beauty. It's a thing that God created for wildlife, for filtering water, that kind of thing. Columbia's a sewer.
And you want to go down there and do this job?
Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Right.
And so I think that we're beginning to build up our numbers of very conservative legislators down there. And they're not anywhere near critical mass that they need to really get some change done. But I think this cycle we're going to pick up one or two more. I think I'm going to be one of those. And we will certainly work very hard to reel in that spending problem.
Well, I mean, they have a majority down there now, Rick. We're talking with Rick Shealy. He's a candidate for District 14 in the House of Representatives for South Carolina. I mean, we have the majority down there now.
Well, and we do, but in reality, a lot of those so-called Republicans are actually probably more Democrat than Republican. They're learning pretty quickly that in order to get reelected, they can't run as Democrats. So they're changing their affiliation to the Republican Party, but they retain their liberal spending ways with the R behind their name. The South Carolina Club for Growth just came out with ratings a couple weeks ago, and there were probably close to, I would say, maybe almost 20 Republicans that were at or near 100 in the rating. John McCravey, he was highly rated, but
for being conservative.
For being conservative, right? But then it drops off pretty quick. And the fellow I'm running against, he was, I think, a 31% rating. There were 6 more Democrats that were at or above, more conservative rated than he was.
But you're in a primary. You're running against another Republican, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's who I'm talking about that I'm running against. He has a bad score. So that's what people in the District 14 are looking for. They're looking for a more conservative candidate. They want somebody who is going to be rated at close to 100 every year, because that's a good indicator for them that they have somebody in there that's working to cut that spending, that has sound economic policies they want to implement.
Well, when we're talking about protecting private property rights, what are you talking about? Because I know that's one part of your campaign also. Well,
government is just constantly encroaching on people's property rights. They are restricting it and how people use their land. In fact, in severe cases, they're actually using eminent domain to take property away from landowners. There are many areas we need to really work on. We had a situation in Lawrence County about it's been about 5 years ago, where Dominion wanted to run a gas pipeline through Lawrence County. and they used eminent domain to come in and take people's property away from them. Mm-hmm. And I was told that they would reimburse at the rate of $1,500 an acre. Well, land in Lawrence County is going for way more than that now. Just by virtue of timing, these landowners lost out. And why couldn't Dominion run their gas line down a highway right away rather than, one man I know, he had a gas line coming within 50 feet of his house.
That's pretty frightening, I would think.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And and now they have that land. They can run anything down they want. They can run fiber optics. They can run overhead power lines. It's theirs for the choosing. So the only thing you can do with it basically is use it for grazing cattle on. You can't build anything on it. You can't grow timber. So it's very restricted.
Wow. Well, when you talk about how about that case down on the coast where they wanted that $32 million for that island down there?
Right. Yeah, I think that was money that was poorly spent. I've seen photographs of that island. The thing about barrier islands on the coast of South Carolina, they're constantly in motion. You have what's called longshore currents coming from north to south down the coast, and they're constantly moving that sand. That's why on the north side of the Charleston jetties, where you have Sullivan's Island, it's actually growing. On the back side, where you have Morris Island, it's disappearing. And that these islands will eventually, they'll move. And that little sand spit down there where they paid $32 million for it is, it could be wiped out in a big hurricane. Now, I think the conservationists were concerned about houses being built there, which I would not want to have that was built on that sand spit, knowing that it could be wiped out.
Yeah. Well, I there's just so many issues facing us that we need to have people that have good sound, and I agree, business experience. So one of the things I know that has been a topic, I've seen lots of articles lately, has been growth in Lawrence County and what's happening to the property there. Where do you come down as far as property rights versus somebody's property right to sell their property to whoever they want and build whatever they want, Rick?
Well, I am very strong supportive of property rights. Now, we face a dilemma in Lawrence County. We have no zoning.
You have no zoning?
We have no zoning in Lawrence County. So as of right now, we could have a out-of-state landfill. If Department of Environmental Services issued permits for them, there's nothing the county could do for it to stop it. And now I have introduced an ordinance last month that would give county council the ability to regulate the location, the size, and the type of waste management facility. So that would regulate.
So do you have a possibility of one coming your way? Is that why this
well,
is?
we dodged a bullet 5 years ago. Okay. There was a company, I think it's called H2O Blue LLC, that wanted to come in on Highway 56 over near Clinton, and they were going to evaporate hazardous waste in hazardous waste containers and then destroy those containers. And they, for whatever reason, they decided not to come in to the county. So everyone's concerned now that we're going to have other types of facilities come into the county because we have such good interstate access. We have 26, right down the road is 20, right up the road is 85. There could be this perfect location for out-of-state waste haulers to come in and dispose of dump exactly in the county. And as of right now, until we get this ordinance passed, they can build a landfill as long as they get the permits, and that wouldn't be good. We don't want to be known as the landfill county. So that going back, that's a big problem caused by the lack of zoning. Also, we have big subdivisions going in the upper part of the county around Gray Court and Hickory Tavern, that area. 500
Greenville overflow.
It's Greenville overflow, exactly. And a lot of these homes are building very close together and pretty cheaply.
You can reach out there and touch your neighbor, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't have impact fees on these new homes that are being built. I have asked county council numerous times, we need impact fees. What that does would defray the cost of infrastructure, of schools, of police protection, roads, that kind of thing. And right now, that burden is being placed on existing residents, and that's not right. And that's another reason our taxes are going up so much. So we need to do something about that. And I think they will, but they've been dragging their feet. So we need impact fees. And with those impact fees, if you raise them high enough, you'll get a better quality home being built because it's a more expensive home. And so that coupled with zoning, I think that would be a big step in trying to solve this.
Do you have time to be able to do it before it's taken over by all this growth?
Yeah, we need to do it now.
Right.
We can't drag our feet. Now, in my part of the county, I'm outside of Cross Hill, and I have a farm there, which I have put into the Upper Savannah Land Trust to protect it from development, from mining, that kind of thing. It's strictly for agricultural, recreational use. So it will always be there. It will always be protected. But not everyone does that. So that's where zoning steps in.
Absolutely. So, should local governments have the ability to pause or slow development while they review growth policies?
Well, I would rather use the word control, and that way you're able to encourage development in the direction of where we have the infrastructure, the roads to handle that growth. Right now you have two groups of people. One is the people that are anti-growth, that they want to live in the country, and then you have the other people who maybe farming is no longer a part of their family, and they want to.
We're seeing that.
And we want to sell that, 100-acre farm, and in Lawrence County, in some places they're getting $25,000 an acre. So, it's
that's very tempting.
Very tempting.
Right.
Right.
And should people have the right to sell it if they want to sell it?
People should have the right to sell it if they want to sell it.
Right.
Exactly.
So where do you come down as far as then it becomes developed?
Well, I think that that's where zoning comes into play. Now, I think most people are against selling it to become a landfill or industrial park or something like that. If you're
but if I can get the money, why care, right?
All right.
That's the problem.
But if you have zoning controlling that, then it'll be an industrial area with other types. We have those in Lawrence County. So if we can protect the rural life community, protect that lifestyle, but also meet the needs of the industry, and I think it can be done. And that's just going to continue. South Carolina is the fastest growing state in the union, so we're going to see more and more of that. It's just going to accelerate.
We have some of those issues right here in Greenwood County, and people have organized to try to keep zoning from being changed and this type of thing.
Right.
But then we do have to think about the people that actually own the property too. So it's a balancing act, I guess we should say.
Yeah.
Well, moving on, what about, you talked about people are tired of hearing about the roads, and nobody seems to be able to make a move on the roads. There's been a lot of discussion about should the interstates be developed and used? Should you have a toll road going down there?
Yeah.
What do you think about the roads?
If you made me king of the roads in South Carolina today, I would look at Indiana. Indiana has the best roads in the United States. One time South Carolina had very good roads.
Yeah, we just kept not taking care of
About
them.
50 years ago, we were known for better roads. Now we're some of the worst roads.
Yes.
In the Southeast, the only state that has worse roads is Mississippi. Thank goodness for Mississippi, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then it's South Carolina.
But what's it going to take? I mean, I talk to legislatures all the time. Well, we can't get the roads built. We don't have enough people out there doing
I've
the
heard
work.
that, yeah.
I mean, everybody has an excuse.
Well, you can get people here, for the right price. And because of our mismanagement in the past, we're probably going to have to pay a higher price. But getting back to looking at Indiana, they have the best roads. And one of the things they do in Indiana, they have elected highway commissioners for every county. So if you're unhappy with the road out here in front of your house, you call.
Got somebody to call?
You got somebody to call. And that's an elected position. So you get to vote that person in or out, or you get to run for that position yourself. Maybe you could do a better job,
Right.
So, but they have great roads, and that's the way you get great roads is you have somebody responsible. Now we just have this big, huge Borg of, bureaucracy down there in Columbia that they just keep throwing everything in there and nothing comes out, like it should. And so we need to cut the bureaucracy and get it back to the counties making the decisions, I think. And I would look at the Indiana model. And that's one of the things that in my environmental business, we work with a lot of different states. And we would see things in other states that were working so well.
Right.
And then in South Carolina, they just tried to make things difficult. I mean, they wanted to be as bureaucratic as possible. And when you're like that, it's kind of the same thing we see at different levels of state government. It just causes problems, and so we need to get more, I think, aggressive in trying to reform our government. Now, they did pass a bill this year giving the governor control of the commissioner of the management at DOT. We'll see if that makes a difference, but
part of the problem with our state is the governor's position is a relatively weak position.
Right.
Unless you have somebody that's really strong and is going to get in there and work with the legislature and get the job done. Henry, for the last 2 years, has been very passive, actually.
Right. It's called the lost decade.
Yes, and it's been a problem for our state. But, you bring up an interesting point. There's a lot of talk of doging everything. What do you think needs to happen from what you've seen? I mean, you haven't been in office. You haven't been on
Right.
behind the closed doors, I guess. But what do you see that our state needs?
Well, I think we need to look at other states, for instance, on roads, as I just mentioned, on education. What other states around us that are doing it better, and maybe copying that model. Just going down the list of if we find something's done better in Florida, let's look at that model and see how they're doing it.
Well, the states were always supposed to be the laboratories of invention, right? They were supposed to be creative. And yet South Carolina, in so many ways, I've always said South Carolina had the ability to react fast because it was a small state.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't seem to be doing that. We just seem to be throwing more money at it lately.
Right. Well, I think that we're going to reach a point where the taxpayers are going to revolt, and they just say enough is enough. And I think in Lawrence County, we're quickly reaching that point because our property taxes are going to go up again this year, 10 to 15%. And I think people are going to be very upset about that. But I think that we need to look at how other states do it and how they're successful at doing it. When I was in business, that's what we did. When there was a department that was not performing like our competitors, we tried to go outside the company and look at ways that other companies were doing it to try to improve what we were doing, and it worked.
Well, if you're going to succeed in business, you have to be aggressively thinking about how to improve, right?
Right. Exactly.
Government doesn't seem to look at it
Well,
that
that's
way,
true.
do they?
That's true. I went back and looked at some numbers for Florida. They've actually, in the last 2 years, have reduced their state employment levels about 1.5% from what they were. South Carolina is on the reverse direction. We've increased ours by about 1.5%.
Yeah. What do you think about AI as far as a tool? And there's a lot of applications that can be used in the governments. What do you think about that?
I think it can be very useful. Mm-hmm. I mean, it certainly has a lot of upside potential. It also has downside potential. I heard a radio show the other day was talking about the downside. What if AI realizes that what they need is to grow AI is more water and more power and less people.
Right, yeah.
So be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, exactly. So, but on education, what do you think what would be some of the things that you either heard from the people over there in Lawrence County or things that you think, we've got school choice, public schools, parental involvement, accountability. Yeah. What do you think our school systems need? We just had a horrific loss of life of one of our police officers here, DJ Keller, and it was a car being driven by a 15-year-old.
It's horrible.
It is
horrible.
Yeah. So what are you hearing over there in Lawrence County?
Well, we need a lot of improvement in our Lawrence County schools. At one time, we were rated much higher than we are now, and we have. For the first time in a long time, we have a good superintendent, and things are going in the right direction. When I'm elected as a representative of District 14, one of my first things I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with the Department of Education head and see what Ellen Weaver, and see what she recommends for Lawrence County. I've talked to a number of school board members in Lawrence County, and one of the things they say is just quit coming out with new programs. We don't want any more new programs. Just stick with what we have, because I don't know how they have to implement these, but apparently it's a lot of work for them. So they just want to stay where they are and not have new program forced on them.
What about as far as school choice or versus public schools? Should the dollars follow the child? Where do you stand on that? I mean, we're making an effort, but we're not really getting there yet. It's only for X amount of students that they have the dollars available for.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, we are making the effort. We just need to see how that plays out. I think there's probably some opportunities for improvement if we handle it that way, where the funds follow the child. I know the public schools have a lot of concerns about it. They say the charter schools can just pick the students they want, but they have to take what charter schools don't want.
My feeling on that is then that puts them in a position to compete, doesn't it? The public schools.
Yeah.
And isn't that the basis of our whole economy and everything, is the survival of the...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is a challenge to the public schools.
Right.
To readapt, to adjust to their conditions so that they can produce even better students.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I don't actually see it as a negatory, but I mean, part of the problem is coming up with enough money, although we as a state invest far more than what a lot of other states that are doing better than we do on a per pupil basis.
That's right. Yeah, I've seen that. I think Utah is probably half of what we are. And there are other states that are spending a lot less per pupil. They need to definitely step back and see why that's an issue, because throwing money at something doesn't always give you the answer you want.
That's true. When you're elected to office, Rick Shealy, we're with Rick Shealy. He is candidate for District 14 over there in Lawrence. Rick, what committees, where would you like to serve if you could pick your committees that you'd be on down there in Columbia?
Ways and Means.
Ways and Means. Well, that's right there at the top of the list now. You probably aren't going to get that one, if my understanding of how politics works. But what about some of the other committees out there?
Well, and I'll tell you, if we had a true Republican led House, you would think they would only appoint Republicans to these choice committees.
Right.
But that's not the case. So that's a problem for us right there. If we've worked very hard in the Republican Party to elect Republicans, and we're not getting Republicans across the board in these choice committees. So I think that needs to change.
So, so you don't have a committee you'd like to work on other than Ways and Means?
Well, I think you're not going to let me run from that one, are you?
I think it points to what your interests are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what
the Wildlife and Ag Committee would certainly probably be number 2 on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are important issues for Lawrence County, those are probably my 2 top choices. But
well, you probably won't get either one of those. I just threw that out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, that is the way it goes. So, back to education. How do you think we support public education while expanding educational options?
How do we support it? By expanding options.
Well, expanding for private schools, school choice type issues.
Right.
How can we do both?
Yeah. Well, I think in Lawrence County, which our county is going to be different than Greenville County or Greenwood or
Sure.
Spartanburg. We don't have a CATE center, a career center in Lawrence County. We're the only county in the upstate that doesn't have one. So that would be a top priority, is getting a CATE center for Lawrence County, and that can be done with state money. Mm-hmm. But that I will fight for that for sure, and work with the other members of the delegation for Lawrence County to get that through.
I think I have been amazed at the advances on career centers. And the very fact that we have students who are graduating with dual degrees from high school. I mean, there is a lot of exciting stuff happening in education, but it needs to be across the board.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's hard to believe you don't have a career center.
We don't. No. And the problem we face in Lawrence County today is we lose a lot of our young people to Greenville and Spartanburg.
Sure.
That's where the jobs are.
Not too far a drive,
right?
Right.
That's where the jobs are. So anything we can do to hold those young folks in Lawrence County, we just landed a pretty substantial industry coming into Lawrence County. It's going to be our second largest industry, right behind FN Manufacturing. So we're excited about that.
What's that?
It's a company that I can't remember the name of the company, but they build components for solar panels, so they're going in the office park, not office park, but industrial park in Lawrence. I think that
Lawrence has actually been over the years pretty hurt by some of the industries that have closed there.
Yeah,
and getting other industry back in there has been a constant source.
That's true. We have not been successful at that, and our recruitment has not really been probably as good as what you've had here in Greenwood, and which is a shame because we have lots of land, lots of interstate highway there.
Good access.
Yeah,
right.
so it really should be booming.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that with you get involved there, that maybe you can make a change.
We definitely will try.
That's right. That's right. So we talked about term limits, how important that is, and do you think that should apply to all state officers, all state offices that are elected offices? And or are there appointed offices where maybe they should have a term limit to them?
I do. In fact, I think the appointed commissions, I think constitutionally they can't serve for life,
right.
But a lot of them seem like they come close to that.
Or they just rotate from commission to commission, right?
Right.
It's kind of a revolving door.
Yeah.
But what do you think it would take to put something like that together for Columbia, for our state?
That's going to be a tough one because, there's so much resistance to term limits in the General Assembly. It may start with this discussion about judges. There are a lot of people that would like to see term limits for judges.
Well, they kind of started down that road, and then they kind of left it in the dust, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
That just seems like, I think it's very interesting. We've got the House and we've got the Senate. And the House can take up something, they pass it over to the Senate. If the Senate doesn't want to take it up, they let it die, and vice versa.
Yeah. Well, the General Assembly prides itself in being the oldest deliberative body in the United States. So I guess they take pride in dragging things out and moving real slow. But in the modern society, that always doesn't work very well. Now, when they want to do something like get money for Scout Motors, they can do that in 10 days.
And look at what happened.
And look at what happened.
Yeah,
exactly.
They didn't get the right permits and everything, and it cost us, another $150 million?
Yeah.
They toss around our money like it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, because they consider it their money.
Yeah, it's other people's money,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So it's a big problem in the House as well as the Senate, for sure.
Exactly. So as we, one of the things that I noticed that I wanted to let you speak to was that you are planning to donate your salary. Tell us a little bit about that.
We're trying to get a Carolina Pregnancy Center up and going in Lawrence County, similar to the Pregnancy Center here in Greenwood and the one in Spartanburg. That they provide services to women that are pregnant and like prenatal services.
All women, yes. Anybody can go there. I mean, at ours here, anybody can go and have a pregnancy test and
That's
an
right.
ultrasound.
Same thing. And counseling and help them any way they can. So we need that in Lawrence County, and they've raised a little bit of money, but they need more. Every volunteer organization like that needs more. But so I've decided to donate my entire salary to the pregnancy center.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
So hopefully it'll get them up and going.
Right.
I hope they can rent a space. And now I know the Carolina Pregnancy Center in Spartanburg has donated their ultrasound machine to them. So they just need a little help to get over the hump, and I think then they'll be up and going.
They'll be up and going. So how do your personal beliefs influence your public policy decisions?
I think they influence it quite a bit. You need to be considerate of all the citizens of the district and try to make the best decisions that is in the greatest interest of the public. I think talking about spending, spend money wisely. Don't throw it away like it's not your money.
Other people's money.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And I think we, the public, have a problem because the government's going to pay for it. The government's going to pay for it. And I like to say that's your dollars that are paying for it.
That's right. Exactly.
And I think we forget that quite often.
Yeah. Well, the federal government's the biggest abuser there, but certainly the state government's right behind them. And it can really do, I think, a good resizing of the government. When I was in college, I think that, we only had a couple of deans down there at the College of Charleston. Now you look at all the deans, they have assistant deans, they have associate deans, all this. And
what are they all doing?
Well, they're drawing a big salary for one.
Right.
And I've heard many people complain about this, how the administrations at these colleges have gotten out of hand. They make up, you would think a college would mainly be professors, right? No, that's only makes about 30%. 70% are administrative.
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
So I don't know what it was at the College of Charleston when I was down there in the late 70s, but I'm sure it wasn't 70%.
Well, I think that's true. And, but again, don't you think that part of that came from other people's money? That's how our college costs have gotten so expensive because of educational grants and loans and everything. They certainly have grown the size of it. And the school said, well, if they're getting the money, we might as well get the money, right?
Right, yeah.
And that's where a lot of our problems come from.
Yeah.
So, as we finish up, where do you stand on the Second Amendment?
I am very much pro-gun, open carry, concealed carry. I think it's our constitutional right.
What do you think about as far as much gun violence as we have in our communities right now? I mean, we are seeing increase all across our state in gun violence. Mm-hmm. What is the answer to this? I don't have any problem with constitutional carry, concealed carry, any of those. But what are we doing to quell the gun violence that we have in our state?
Well, it's really society. I think that we really need to look at why are there so many broken homes? Why are we not being better parents? Maybe that should be a required course in high school. It's parenting. Maybe that should be a 2-year course.
Maybe a 6-year course.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. But obviously we're not doing what we should to try to train our young people better, to discipline them better.
Right.
It's probably a combination of problems. Lenient judges, just drugs, all these things that are going on in society now are coming together to cause a lot of these problems.
Well, we just seem to be out of control.
Yeah.
And I think I have had, just recently had David Stumbo, who's running for AG for the state, have him on, and he was talking about a gang bill and that our law enforcement needs to have stronger laws to be able to get their teeth into some of these gangs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a myriad of things that are happening that just we don't see the movement by our House and Senate to get these things done.
No. And David would be a great one to consult with on what is the best way to try to rein in some of these problems. If they're not listening, if the General Assembly's not listening to our solicitors, that's a big problem because the solicitors are the ones that deal with these issues on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
And that's where probably the best place you can find an answer.
Exactly. Well, we are almost out of time, and I want to make sure that you have a few minutes to tell the folks why they should vote for Rick Shealy for District 14 right over there in the Lawrence area.
Certainly. Well, I'm Christian. I am a conservative Republican. I'm a 8th-generation South Carolinian. I'm a farmer with a lot of business experience. When I bought my farm, it was covered with pine trees, and so in order to create pastures and diversify the farming activities we were doing, we had to clear that land, and we had to stump it out, and we had to go in there and plow it and lime it and fertilize it and plant it numerous times in order to establish our pastures. So I have had that experience of starting from the ground up. When my ancestors came over in 1752 from Germany, they got a land grant for 100 acres from King George II, and they settled in the Dutch Fork area of Richland County. They had to do that. They had to clear the land. They had to stump it out.
Right.
So I felt that connection with my ancestors in doing that. So just the value of the land. If you remember a famous quote from Gone with the Wind that, the land is worth fighting for. The land is worth dying for. Because land is the only thing that lasts.
Right.
And I feel that every day when I'm out there on the farm. But, and I think in Lawrence County, we have a lot of potential. We have We have a great population there. We have beautiful land with beautiful resources. We're on the other side of Lake Greenwood from you. I think that my experience in business, being able to cut budgets and deal with difficult financial situations. We went through that Great Recession of 2008. We had to adjust for that, and we came out of it stronger than ever. And so those are the kind of things that are needed down in Columbia. But also, I believe that my faith is important in dealing with individuals and dealing with the priorities before us on a day-to-day basis. So that's why I think I'm asking for the voters in District 14 to give me an opportunity to go down there and serve them. And I'm not a career politician. This is the first time I've run for political office, and I don't believe that it should be a lifelong job. I believe it should be a career that you go down and do the job, and just like Washington and Jefferson said, then you go home to the farm, and that's what I plan on doing.
Well, Rick, now if people want to find out more information about you, how do they find out about you?
Well, they can go to our Facebook page, Shealy for SC House, or our website, which is shealyforsc.com, or they can contact me directly at, let's see, my phone number is area code 803-260-6502.
Don't call yourself very often, do you?
No.
No, you don't.
That's true.
Give them that telephone number one more time, Rick.
All right, that is area code 803-260-6502.
6502. Well, I think anybody that jumps into politics to try to serve deserves some kudos, because you take a lot doing it. How do you feel as you're coming into we're into the home stretch? Early voting, if everything goes according to plan, starts on the 26th.
Yeah, a week from today.
Yeah.
Well, I feel good. I think the momentum is building. I'm really amazed at the support I'm getting. I would have never expected that, especially going against an incumbent. I really feel that we are going to win this. And I think that I'm going to work hard for Lawrence County. I'm going to be a full-time legislator, not a part-time legislator. I'm going to hit the ground running. And like I said, I'm term limited, so if I want to get something done, I'm going to have to work fast. And I look forward to working with the other members of the Lawrence County delegation to accomplish good things for not only Lawrence County, but for South Carolina.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming out here today. It was a pleasure to have you on the radio, and we wish you Godspeed.
Thank you very much.
All right. Our very special guest today has been Rick Shealy. He is a candidate for District 14, which is right across the lake there on the other side. So he wanted to come on and tell us about our program and about his program, and I always enjoy talking to our legislatures and potential legislatures. So thank you again, Rick, for coming out. That, my friends, makes my my third time on the radio today. I am going to say adieu. So Penny will be back maybe tomorrow. This morning, she decided not to get on the show this morning. She felt a little bit upset when I didn't pull her up here because she was being a boo. But she'll be here on the show tomorrow. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS. I'll see you in the morning. Thank you, Rick Shealy, for coming out and being on the show today. That's going to do it for us. Drop the curtain. And that's it, folks. Let's play the music. Bye-bye, everybody.